No, that's my seat. You got to move over. Move your fast over. Go on.
Body,
There you go. Slide over more.
We don't cause trouble.
Go.
We don't kill body. We just
There you go.
on the mic. We rock up on the mic. We rock the mic, right? For all my dogs. Mr. Matthew Caffrey, and we'll be back.
Everybody's good?
This
Good? Everything's good? Okay, we're good.
See out for justice. Got my gunpowder in my musket. Wow, felons get swellings. I paint mental pictures like Magellans. Having my clans reduce spelling. If it does protect me, joints with non-nickels. Man,
Good morning. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Go ahead. Don't let me interrupt your rap. I'm just visiting with the.
Oh, hell yeah.
No, hi.
We're getting dogs. All my dogs in the chat room.
Yep. Hey, Brian, I took your advice. I'm meeting your friends tomorrow in Safety Harbor, so thank you. I appreciate it. So, hi, Fred. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I'm doing it to your rap song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Fred.
One time.
Happy birthday to you and many more.
Happy birthday, Big Fred. Ting Elias in the house.
Hello,
Lori
Brian.
Business.
Hello, Lori. What's up, Allie? Hello. Yeah, please forgive me. I think I have an ever so slight fever. So I, not feeling my best tonight, but hey, I'll get over it. The boots are amazing. The boots are great. Thank you. I thought for a second you meant the boobs, and I was like, they're okay. How are the boobs? What do you think?
Yeah, they're amazing too.
No, he sent me boots for my birthday.
It's Titty Tuesday on Twitter.
Hi, Wolf.
Nice.
How are you? Yeah, welcome. And Chuck, hi. Thanks for joining us, Eva, everybody, Lori. Thanks for joining us on election night, where a couple of states apparently need until November 14th to tally up the votes now. That's what they're asking for. I'm like, wait a second. You guys were sending us like to the minute, every minute on the minute, COVID death trackers, every city, every state. We knew exactly what was going on. You could keep track of that from every hospital, but you can't tell us what the votes are in a day, especially like a third of them already mailed in and done early. So maybe they should bring on the Dancing with the Stars people, because they have to tally those votes up in just a commercial break. Bring them on to help them out.
We're practicing democracy on a reality shows, but I stopped by the first.
Yeah, or that. Maybe that was the situation too. Winona, hello. Yeah, who knows, right? Who knows? Will we ever really know?
I stopped by the first voting poll today, and I shit you not, because the first, I say first because in my neighborhood where I should be just able to go and vote, instead I had to go even farther away from where I was to go to this other place that was, not, I don't know how to say, not credible by any means, but I'm here to tell you, the people we got in charge of handling the votes here locally where I was, I shit you not, the first place I got turned away from, the ladies were 70 plus and their names were Sharon and Karen on the tags. And I'll let you guys paint your own mental picture there. Then I ended up going
Sharon. I'm going to point you this way, right over here, hon.
Yeah. And then instead I ended up going to this Italian club where there's this guy named Lou sitting in the corner and you can smell spaghetti sauce cooking in the back. And then it's even older ladies who can't even stand up. They've been there since 5 a.m, they said, and this is like 5 p.m. They must have packed some extra Depends because they weren't moving for nothing. These ladies were like 95, April. And then the young guy would have been like 70, who's trying to help with the technology of feeding the ballots in the machine. I'm just going, holy shit, this is what the hands of the hands of the Republic are in Ethel, Sharon, Karen, and Tommy's hands over here. I'm just going, wow.
Hey, they might care more than, Kyla and Zachary and Hevert's
Hunter and Thad.
Exactly.
Thad,
you never know. That would, yeah. So Disco, hello, and AB Twitch, what's up? So, and hello, Rum. I know we all hate the ads, but I'll tell you what, the ads are what kind of pay us. So thanks for dealing with them, because y'all say you support us, but my Patreon, the A show is going down. So for those of you who are on Patreon, thank you. It's one thing to say you support us. It's another one to actually sign up there and actually support us. So for you guys, thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, that's why we have some ads on here. I wanted to say real quick before we get totally started, next week, my former boss, Eli Che Gonzalez, will be joining us. He is a ghostwriter and an author and just an inspiring person in general. But he has written a book about a Holocaust survivor. This was back in 2015 that is now being made into a film. So we're bringing him on to talk about all of this. And he's a speaker, he's a publisher, he's an entrepreneur, and he's just generally a can-do person and very fascinating and interesting to learn from. So he's one of the people I wrote for and with, and I decided that I hated ghostwriting, but he's very good at it. So, and he'll probably tell you the story of how I just ended up quietly quitting, how that happened. But that'll happen. I'll just remind you guys that we are switching to Wednesday kind of afternoons starting on the 23rd of this month. And I will have a different co-host and producer. And we're lightening the load for Ben here. So it'll be Big Ray Hernandez. So, and we'll be going to Wednesday, I think from 4 to 5:30 or 4:30 to 6. So we haven't figured out that time slot yet, but I just wanted to keep reminding you guys that we're shifting. Sure. And of course, replays are going to be available anytime. So there's that. I also wanted to let you know that if you've been around for a while, you know I used to do a newsletter every single week on aprilhunter.com. Well, we're bringing it back. And that used to be a fun newsletter. I would tell you stories about what happened during the week, put out jokes, you got free pictures, there's all kinds of stuff. And we're bringing that back. We already got the subscription, format up. So if you go to aprilhunter.net, you can sign up for that. And I will be sending out my first one this week. So provided we have enough people to send it to, I will be sending that out. So yeah, I love the newsletter too. That was an institution, right? That's actually what kind of got me started with writing on a regular basis. Like I was like, I got to do this every week. And I would actually start telling stories. Like, I was backstage on the shoot and this is what happened. And I was working with this person, or I was back in the locker room and this is what I ever heard. And what do you guys think of this? So it's not just, hey, buy my shit. It's actually a newsletter. So if you go on there, aprilhunter.net and sign up, I will be sending out the newsletter. So yes, we are relaunching that site and relaunching the newsletter. And there's something else I was supposed to tell you. Oh yeah. I'm doing the annual Christmas cards again this year. So if you want a free Christmas card, you have to, oh my God, yes, I did do the paper newsletter. Oh my God. I remember sitting in my tiny little efficiency in Vegas, printing those out front to back and then mailing them to everybody. That was a lot of work. But yes, speaking of a lot of work, I am going to be sending out a Christmas card again this year. This was I got it, so I've actually got 4 done already. I was supposed to have a friend here this week and it fell through. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just through 3 to 5 a day and get them started. So send me your addresses if you want one and I don't already have them, and I will get them out to you. So, okay, that's basically it. So tonight we are going to cover, let's see, what do we got? Obviously we have a little bit on the election. We have a controversial tweet by one of my coworkers. We meant to cover this last week and didn't. How to not gain weight through the holiday season. There are some tricks and tips that really do work. You just have to plan. And the benefits of having dyslexia. So a lot of people who have had dyslexia, and there's a fairly large group of people that have it, have been kind of tormented through school because we put such an emphasis on reading and writing. And there's some new information showing that that's not how it's supposed to be. So, and again, forgive my voice. Like I said, I'm fighting something off, so apologies. So, hi, War Demon. Hello, the artist. Cool, awesome dude. Thanks to everybody who is joining us tonight. We appreciate it. So, it's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine last night from school, and I was telling her we were just talking about, the election day today and all the things that we dealt with. Oh, Karina, hello. We're dealing with all the stuff we were dealing with over the last couple of years. And one of the things I said, I was like, yeah, I was supposed to be booked in Canada and I was booked in Dubai. And I got unbooked from a lot of my stuff. And Dubai, right? You probably have a couple of wives over there.
Yeah, I have a couple properties and wives there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
200, PWI 200 wives are from there.
So I was supposed to work there and help train at the school over there that my friend from Scotland has. So she says to me, I never obviously got, I didn't get too close to the booking, so I didn't start doing my research on it. But she says to me, she goes, oh, I could not do Dubai. She goes, I know I would slip up and say the F word. I was like, so? She's like, so? She's like, you go to jail. She's like, they will imprison you for a year over the F word. I was like, what? No, I'm like, it's not like the Middle East. I said, the UAE, I said, that part of the UAE is not the same. I said, it's like, you don't have to wear the head covering or, you can do whatever you want. She's like, yeah, you might want to look into that. So here I am, I'm doing my thing on my phone. And it says that if you say fuck in Dubai, even if you write it, even if you are a resident there and you're in England and you write it to some, you will go to motherfucking jail for at least a year. It is considered an assault and an affront on people's humanity. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is not going to work well for me. I was like, I might stub my toe and go like, fuck, or it's just, it's like a really serious part of my language. It's like the salt and pepper of my language here. Like I never really considered it a swear. Like I don't, it's just, it's like the hot sauce on how I speak,
Yeah.
It is. It just is. Like I would not come. I would go to work, and I would not come back. That would be it.
Yeah.
I could get by. Okay, no public displays of affection. You're also not allowed to go there and have a hotel or stay in a hotel with somebody you're not married to. And if they catch you sneaking in the rooms, like you're fucked.
But all that usually ends up being very much in most organized religion / crossover, political regimes, rules for thee, not for we, when it comes down to
it. It threw me. I'm sitting there. I'm sitting there looking it up. I'm like, oh my God, I'm looking at all the sentences and the fines. The fines like $52,000. Yeah, exactly. So you're fined or jailed or both.
Everything that happens to you is going to make you say fuck more. You'll be like, fuck, like you're going to jail for a year.
What the
fuck? $52,000. Fuck.
I know. I know. So right then and there, I was like,
Chat room's going off with the fucks right now here, guys.
I know.
And I got to stop you, April. I know you're feeling a little under the weather, but earlier we had 100 corgi bits here for Titty Tuesday as well.
What? So did we? Oh, I missed corgis. I'm sorry.
Even town Skip, I think. So boom, 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 ha. Watch out,
corgis.
Boom, boom, whoa.
Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't want that to go unwelcomed. And cool, awesome dude said, cheer those bits and subscribe with your Amazon Prime here on twitch.tv/ the A Show. And also we're on YouTube. I see we got some YouTubers in the chat room as well, you guys. So people have having a good time laughing, getting the fuckity fuck the fuck.
Yes, exactly. Get your fucks out now. Yeah, the C word must be death. So when you think that we don't have democracy or the end of democracy is here, remember, we can say fuck and not get in trouble for it.
Yeah, we have more corgis coming in here, hot. For
Thank
titties,
you,
man.
Thank you, titties for biddies, you guys. Thank you, and you ladies. Well, you ladies look at arms. So get it out of your system. So I don't know where you want to tackle first. Why don't we just go with we'll knock the diet, the holiday season out. So I wrote an article.
Yeah, please.
I was going to say, you can find it on aprilhunterblog.com. Exactly. And it's called Don't Let the Holidays Put a Hurtin' on You. And I wrote it for RX Muscle originally many years ago, and it's up there. And it was basically how to avoid gaining weight through the holiday seasons, because the average person will gain between 4 and 12 pounds. So, a lot of birthdays happen in September and October, and that just sort of kicks off the holiday season. It's like, oh, all this birthday cake, because if you're like me, like all my friends and family and birthday cake, and then you roll into, Halloween, then you roll into Thanksgiving, then you roll into, Christmas and Hanukkah, Christmas, all that. And next thing you know, you're like literally rolling down the sidewalk. So there are actual cheats where you can literally have your cake and eat it too. So where you're not depriving yourself. And this is what the professionals do. So, okay, ready? Here's the number one thing.
Get your pen and paper ready, guys.
You don't even need that. This is really simple. Never fucking get hungry. Never allow yourself to get hungry. So how you do that, it's a really easy. Always carry a snack with you. I call it purse food. Always have something in there. Have a granola bar, have, your beef jerky, have a bag of nuts. Have something with you all the time. Never get hungry. When you get hungry, you do stupid shit. So it's kind of like when you're too horny and you bang that slag and then you come home with something that you shouldn't have had. Never get too horny. Never get too hungry. Okay. So
you're saying rub one out before you go out, and then
something about Mary.
Oh yeah,
you can't think with a loaded gun.
That's she's giving you pearls here, guys, not pearl necklaces, but pearls of wisdom. And absolutely, I've been trying to do that too with these. I just bought these nuts upstairs where I'm trying to have a little bit here, or a small piece of cheese or something, because I've been off the sugar, and I'm trying. I'll stooge it. Like, I'm working on a movie this spring, and I'm gonna miss being here with you. I always love hanging out with you. I've been happy to be your producer in the interim, and I know Big Ray's going to do things too, and I'm sure the chat room will like looking at him more than they do me. So, but that's all helpful. Because my cheat day is going to be like my Thanksgiving desserts, but I've just kind of been able. I only had like 5-6 pieces of Halloween candy, so I feel like I did all right in breaking it. But I'm going out this weekend for the wife's birthday. Wife 32, wife 71, and I came home with 2 something. It's all their birthdays. So I think we're going to Disney. So I'm sure I'll have a little something naughty. You know what I mean? But I like that of not getting hungry. And I've been doing extra cardio. I'm just trying to lose the weight, keep it
offset, balance.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That you're going out for a birthday thing this weekend, right? So you guys know stuff's coming up, or you're going to have a birthday. You're going to have, Karina's like purse food rocks. So it's like grandma's candy, right? There's always something in there. So you got something coming up. You're going to Thanksgiving, and there's going to be all the fixins there for the couple of days out before, and definitely the morning of. Just chill on the carbs. Like, go easy, because what you can do is you can offset it. You can choose your battle, basically. So, you're going to fuck it up on Thanksgiving or Christmas for 2 days out or whatever. Go low carb, and the day after go low carb, and then do what you want on Christmas and Thanksgiving, but kind of plan for it. You know what I mean? That way you're not feeling deprived. Like, oh, I can't have that biscuit. I can't have those potatoes. Yeah, have the biscuit, have the potatoes. So but know that you can't do this, 4 days a week. You have to chill and then plan for it and have it be your cheat meal. Here's another one. If you're going out to dinner or you're going to a party and there's going to be food there, still have a protein drink before you go, because there's no telling when the food's going to come. There's no telling if you're going to hit traffic. So always have a protein drink as you're walking out the door. That way you're not starving and you're not making stupid decisions, especially at a party. You're like, oh, why am I going to eat when there's food? Trust me, eat before there's food. Mm-hmm. And if you can't do that, have a cup of coffee. That will stave it off as well. If you order something at a restaurant, like say you're trying to avoid sugar or French fries, and they bring it anyway, and you don't have the strength or fortitude to not pick at it, take the salt shaker and dump the salt all over it. And I don't mean a little bit. I mean dump the salt shaker on it, ruin it. And that way it's disgusting and you can't eat it.
Shake it like a salt shaker.
Yeah, destroy it.
I got salty taste in my mouth just thinking about that as well. But I'm just gonna try and offset. Like, I'm not gonna go hog wild, but if I have my taste of what I want to, I know the next 2 days I'm just gonna make myself pay the price in sweat equity. You know what I mean? I'm really
walk more. And the artist, not the artist. I'm sorry. I'm reading. Disco said a little bit of cheese is good for late night cravings. It is actually. Any protein before bed I eat right before bed and always have, but I do the intermittent fasting, so I'm not one to eat the next day till later. But protein at night is fine. It's good. So, nuts, protein shake, eggs, cottage cheese, yogurt, that kind of thing. Cheese, right. You're good. So,
and one other thing that might do from getting the munchies is to not smoke as much sativas, smoke more indicas. As the artist is here in the house and is saying Ben Spinach is getting some legal love in the state of Maryland. If you don't know or not, I'm part owner in a cannabis seed company called HorseshoeGenetics.com. If you want to grow the best quality cannabis and CBD, in autoflower and photo period feminized seeds. We got over 50 strains available right now at horseshoegenetics.com. And the segue out of this says, why is Casey Anthony on my Twitter alert? That's a big part of what we're talking tonight. Not necessarily Casey Anthony. I'm not sure why Casey Anthony is trending here on Twitter right now, but Twitter's been pretty crazy. Obviously, our hardcore A Show fans know the up and down you've been through by getting hacked and locked out and trying to reclaim and getting the check mark back. Now the hot news this week is Elon wanted to charge 20 to anybody who was verified, and now it's down to 8. Yeah. And today he's back and forth with Kathy Griffin on it. And I
saw that. He banned her, right?
I don't think he banned her.
I thought he banned her. I thought he banned her for some kind of legal ban for life after that, or something. I don't know. Or maybe it was a joke. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it might have been a joke. Maybe I'm wrong, guys. Please feel free to check me. And if April's right, I will gladly bow down to the mistress of the internet here and say how wrong I was, like a bad little boy.
He did suspend her. Okay, he suspended her.
See, I don't understand. I think that's a bad move when you're taking over for free speech. And now you're doing that as a rib because you can. That's not a good look. Like
I think you're gonna have to take the hits with it, especially if you're talking about free speech.
And you can take the hits at HorseshoeGenetics.com, the best cannabis seeds. Sorry.
Somebody said, what do I do about munchies? Which before we go on to Twitter, because there's plenty to talk about there. Here, if you have a sweet tooth, actually, here's something that keeps me sane. I get the sugar-free Jell-O puddings. So I like the dark chocolate, but you can get whatever thrills you. Obviously the Jell-O is lower calorie, but I get the chocolate pudding and I get the whipped cream and put the whipped cream on top, and it's like kind of sub out for ice cream on that. And the whipped cream is very low sugar. The sugar-free Jell-O is no sugar, so you can have one of those and it's actually really good.
See, I'm a chipaholic, although I do like serious sugar because I was way into Sour
There's
Patch Kids during raw,
so many
like all that.
gluten-free.
You
Yeah, there's
know,
so many options for chips.
yeah.
Gluten-free pretzels, all that.
It's more the salt and the crunch. So if I have celery and, like you said, put some salt on it, I'm kind of
No,
fine with it.
celery with really good salsa.
Yes, yeah. Celery with
It's,
peanut butter, all
yeah,
that kind of stuff
yeah.
is great in there. And the other one that I do, you can. This is kind of more of a cheat in that I don't really like
Dill
chemical
pickles. Dill
substitutes as
pickles.
much. Okay, that's good. Yeah, with a crunch and
Yeah,
tartness
it's
there.
there's no calories in them at all.
Yeah. Like Russell Stover does make, if you go to your dollar store, you can get candy like chocolate caramels that are sugar free. So you eat too much of that though, it can really upset your stomach. But if you can moderate it, yeah, there you go. Those like they've got an entire brand of different things. So whatever you like, that those look like peppermint patties, I guess, and they have pecan clusters and that stuff. So you can find it if you're trying to do sugar substitutes. There's a lot of, but if you want to do natural sugars and you got a sweet tooth, bananas are a good switch up that I've found for myself.
There's a caveat to this.
Yeah.
You can't eat too much or it will make you
give you the shits.
The screaming, bleeding shits. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I said. In moderation with those are all right, but like to sit there and whack a whole bag, you're going to give yourself a stomach ache.
Yeah, but like Chuck says, walk a lot. Every chance you get, go outside and do a lap around the neighborhood. You know, do all those little walks. They add up a lot. You know, a little 5-minute walk here, a little 8-minute walk here, a little 10-minute walk there. At the end of the day, that can add up. Walking, you know what I mean? So those steps add up. So
strawberries. I know, yeah, berries is a great way to get sugars in that tart fix as well, for sure.
Yeah.
I've been boxing. I love this precision striking channel on YouTube that has virtual pad workouts, and I get a crazy sweat going because I just suck at running and treadmill and all that's my way to bust a big sweat to burn those calories. So let us know in the chat what you guys are doing. I know we're walking and it looks like some intermittent fasting and changing up some diets as we get older and our metabolism changes. But those are all great tips. But back on the Twitter tip, I know Mick Foley from our own wrestling business, a guy that, usually isn't on anybody's bad side, but he's really gone from the hardcore legend on camera to kind of the softcore politic guy who toes the lefty line. And they called his bluff from back when the word was Elon first might buy Twitter, and he tweets saying he'll quit. Well, then they trolled him into it, and he quits. And then he comes back.
Okay, so why somebody would be trolled into something by a bunch of, I'm sorry, but by a bunch of people who live like, in their mom's basements or whatever, they're pushing you to quit Twitter when you actually need it for work. First off, I don't understand. I mean,
brand new podcast. He's got Foley's pod. Like, you got to promote it, and that's your number one promotional tool.
So, okay. So, all right. So a couple people, sent me the tweets and asked my opinion. And somebody wrote to me about this. We have a couple of regular fans who can't do the lives, and they watch every week later. And one of them kind of reviews the show and says, this is what I like, this is what I didn't like. Okay. And he sent a really interesting message tacked on to last week's. And he said, here is what Mick did. And remind you, I've known Mick for a long time. He's a friend. I didn't realize he was as left as he is, but he has actually talked to me multiple times and said, April, gosh, I wish I could be more like you and just say things and just put things out there. He's like, I'm afraid to do that because I'm afraid it'll affect my work. And I don't want to offend people. And I was thinking when he did this tweet, he did nothing but offend people. So, because he's a lot of wrestlers are people pleasers. They don't want to say anything offensive. So, so anyway, so he did bail on Twitter when Elon took it over, but then he returned Sunday night to plead with everyone to vote Democratic candidates. And his exact quote was as follows: "I'm back on Twitter for one day, so I can plead with all of you to not give your vote to election deniers. Inflation rises and falls. Gas prices will go down. But once our democracy is gone, it is not coming back. Democracy is on the ballot." So he wrote, I like Mick Foley as a wrestler, and he seems like a genuinely good person, but a lot about this rubbed me the wrong way. For starters, saying that you're going to do something based on principle and then going back on it just a few days later to shill for a political party bothers me. If you feel that strongly about it, then say you're going to stay for the sake of promoting politicians you support. Tell your followers that getting that message out is more important than scoring points because you don't like the new owner of a platform that has become rather necessary to communicate with the masses, and thus what started this snowball rolling down the mountain that for Elon to begin with. Sorry, again, not feeling my best today. Apologies. Which leads me to the fact that he didn't bother to support a politician, but instead opted to go along with the bullshit talking point that has been drummed up by increasingly desperate Democrats who seek a very real chance that they're going to take a drubbing at the polls tonight. History in the past decade has actually displayed the exact opposite concept of which party supports democracy versus which party will go out of their way to undermine it. For example, when Trump lost the election, he pleaded with anyone in the Republican Party to take steps to overturn the election process. While some spoke out in support of Trump, not a single Republican did anything to help him circumnavigate the transfer of power. Even his own vice president refused to assist him. Yet, if we look back to 2016, when Trump got elected, multiple Democratic congressmen stood up during the official vote certification and attempted to get the election results overturned. That's to say nothing of all the Democratic politicians that went on TV saying that their loss was due to a, quote, stolen election, or that their opponent was, quote, illegitimate as a victor. Hillary Clinton and Stacey Abrams are two key examples of that. We saw Republicans standing up and peacefully certifying that the election, even after the events of January 6th, certifying the election even after the events of January 6th. But with the Democrats, we saw several actively try to prevent the transfer of power. Yet people like Foley have the audacity to declare democracy is at stake if we don't vote for the politicians he wants. The party that was willing to throw people into jail if they didn't put a vaccine into their body, the party that trampled all over our rights the last 2 years, the party that had their representatives go on television, online, radio, and newsprint and actively say that we needed to be, quote, re-educated if we supported the Republican Party. We're supposed to trust them as the party that defends democratic standards of the Republic. Also, Mick doesn't seem to realize that many of the so-called election denial candidates were propped up by Democrats who spend millions of dollars supporting them in the primaries because they thought it would be easy. They would be easy candidates to defeat in the general election. So democracy is at stake, but not so at stake that the party Mick wants us to vote for was okay with funding those very candidates. Hopefully I read that right. Last but definitely not least is the statements about the economy. It is really easy for someone who has bankrolled millions of dollars from his time at WWE as a wrestler and an author to pretty much, who can pretty much do anything he wants when it comes to asking price for public appearances and interviews to say, don't worry about inflation and gas prices, those will go away. It's actually kind of disheartening to try and guilt trip people who are struggling to afford food while paying their heating and cooling bills while telling them, oh, that's trivial stuff that will pass in time. But if you vote for that over democracy, you're going to kill us all. It's absolute bullshit. It's disgusting. And honestly, the more I think about it, the angrier I get at him for sinking to this level instead of being honest, straightforward, and pointing out which candidates he supports and why he supports them rather than this ridiculous sky is falling method. So I thought that was a really interesting comment, enough that I'm actually reading it on the podcast. So thank you for tolerating me reading something. So
That was very brilliant breakdown that didn't it just
Yeah,
pointed out
he's a very
the
smart
side.
person.
Yeah, it just pointed out the sides of if you want to accomplish something, you feel a certain way, we'll respect you more if you present it with, as Mick says, the facts that he wants to say. Instead, it comes out as virtue signaling and just
Yes.
more word salad to say, I know we're losing, but I try to do it, which makes me say, as a worker, who's pulling his strings to make him do that instead
Well,
of, you know.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are blinded by hating Trump so much as a person, and
Mm.
I think a lot of us hate Trump so much as a person. I mean, I'm right there with you. I think he's, not a savory person. But this is where Americans get it really wrong. And we have to separate our personal emotions from what's for anything from the bigger picture. So if things were better under Trump, even if he is a very unsavory person, then you have to kind of put that aside and be like, at least he does his job. And a lot of people just aren't able to do that. I remember my friend, I
So
was
wait,
telling her,
you're saying one one
no, give me some,
pussy.
maybe, let me give you a second. I remember my friend, I was telling her about Handmaid's Tale when it came out. I was like, the show's really good. I think you'd really like it. And she's like, fuck that. She goes, the lead actress there is Scientologist. I'm never watching anything with a Scientologist. And I'm like, I don't know if that matters so much. I'm like, it's a good show. It's something that really makes you think. I really think you'd enjoy it. She's like, I'm never watching anything where there's a Scientologist at the helm. Years later, she ended up watching it, but I was like, why would you, why would you be that way? You know what I mean? Like, I get it. We vote with our dollars, but still,
Yeah,
yeah.
is that the hill you want to die on? Maybe they have some cross with Scientologists in their past that triggers them, or
And she
some
did.
type of
She
mind
did.
control. Yes, I don't want to judge everybody's personal reason as to why. You know what I mean?
But still, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, so this is
But then
like
does she go, well, I really like Top Gun and Tom Cruise is in that. So.
No, she won't watch that either.
Right? Yeah, right. So do we pick and choose our battles?
But you're looking at like, I don't know, a lot of people might not know that Brazil is up in arms because they claim the election was stolen there this past week. So it was extremely close, and apparently the officials just shut it down. So, and said that the liberals are still in power, even though the people apparently voted for the conservatives. So they're all on the streets. And people who have complained about this have had all their social media accounts taken down. All of them, like thousands of Twitter and Instagram and Facebook accounts have been deleted. So, and what, is this a cautionary tale for us as well? Is this a situation where globalists will do anything to stay in power?
Yeah, they will, and they'll topple other regimes to play the game of risk in real time, pretty much. And you were talking about the ones they arrested there. I saw in Saudi Arabia, which WWE just took their money as well, when they were about to be attacked by Iran because we've given them all these weapons to fight these globalist battles. But they beheaded 80 people, and 60 of which were supposed anti-establishment terrorists who wanted democracy. So we do business with them, but we're fine with medieval beheadings and homosexuals being hung from cranes and shit like that. But it all looks like the big American Disney package when it comes to wrestling or whatever it is in Qatar with these super cities. But you still were there. It reminds me of the Quakers and Pilgrims of, our heritage of this super reserved, and the Handmaid's Tale kind of plays right into that too, right? With kind of how women are treated at that time. I'm not really, I know my wife's watching. I'm not too familiar other than when I've seen it in passing scenes. So
it's a good show. It's actually, the show's actually better than the book.
it comes down to a couple questions here. For $1.85 gas, would you let Trump grab you by the for the good of America?
Wait, would I take one for the team for America?
Good of America, would you let him give you old muffle shuffle
you
one
know
time?
What? Let me tell you. I might have before America turned on me for not getting vaccinated, but now that happened and y'all took away my
and that was it. Now
y'all can go fuck yourself and pay $4.50 again. I know what you guys are now. You showed your true colors.
You guys, she would have done
you
one
showed your true color. I would have let him grab my hoo-ha before that if it was going to help the for the better of it. So yeah, America, fuck yeah. And the artist, the word was unsavory, not savory. And Ben, speaking of what I just said, I gave you a video that somebody summed that up better than I did. And I thought this would be entertaining to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so that this was all a lot.
It's not playing well.
I was really just kind of hoping we could put all this behind us and move on.
Yeah,
is that an apology? I know that I called you a grandma killer, but I really just wanted what's for you. Is it my grandma in the hospital or attending her funeral? But my heart,
it's not playing well.
Was in
what happened there?
Place. I also lost my was also her.
Sorry,
also listen. We just didn't know. I just.
Are we not able to play it?
Death upon
StreamYard's trying. StreamYard's got all these new twists and stuff in it, but sometimes it doesn't work as well as it should. You guys, I apologize.
Man, that was going to be funny. That's a little
I think. I'm sorry. I think the big part of it, though, that satire is the most powerful weapon in all of media.
Yes.
I can try and bring it up again and see if I can get this to work. I'll give it another shot, but I don't want to kill the show with technical difficulties. Let's see here.
You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah, you're supposed to be a hacker.
I'm hacking away. Yeah, nobody hacks the right way the first time. That's for sure.
And Karina, you're right. The collusion between big tech and the alphabet agencies are very concerning. You weren't able to download it, huh?
I just didn't have time to download it, to be honest with you, because I had just seen that in your messages. I can.
I know that I called you a grandma killer, but I really just wanted to girl or even in her funeral. But my heart was in the right place.
It's like basically it's an abortion. Just
killing the whole. It's killing the whole stream.
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
So. Oh, well, I reposted it on Instagram. You can find it on Real April Hunter. It's interesting because a lot of people are asking for an apology, and no one in this country is issuing one. No one. Now, there was somebody in charge in Canada that issued an apology, but no one's doing it here. So we're just wondering who's going to man up and actually apologize. Be curious.
I mean, who needs to apologize? Is it
all the alphabet agencies?
Oh,
would be great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, our president would be great.
News agencies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, everybody who perpetuated a lie and pushed for segregation would be great.
How about at the micro level within families? Like, how do you start that conversation of? I missed my father's 70th birthday party because of heat with my mom because of them being poisoned by the news. You know what I mean? And I'm coming off of COVID and now it's like, oh, you could kill your father if you're there. Like now we're in some weird thing where it's just like what should have been a joyous occasion is now like everybody's loss and misery. How do you repair those bonds, like to start healing that? But in my opinion, it's always, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So it's like, don't expect an apology from those who were fooled, because they'll easily be fooled again, in my opinion.
Yeah, basically. So it's like, anybody, I would have said the Trump administration would never ever issue an apology, that they would be, the ones that wouldn't do it. And I can't actually see them doing it either, but this one isn't doing it as well. So there's something you guys need to remember. We're supposed to see this alleged red wave happen with this election night, but you need to remember something before you get all excited. A lot of what happened to us was put into place by Republicans to begin with. So the Patriot Act, Operation Mockingbird, net neutrality, without these things in place by Republicans, the Democrats could not have taken the rights away that they did. So there have been a series of laws and court cases and precedents set for years and years and years now that led us up to where we are now. Like I said, the mandates, or not the mandates, the mandates actually are play into the abortion thing too. But abortion, people lost that because of the Laci and Scott Peterson trial, because they wanted Scott Peterson tried as a double murderer. So they gave the fetus personhood. And lawyers warned back then that personhood was going to come back to bite us in the ass. And 20 years later, it did. So personhood is what the states used, and I guess federal, to roll back the right to abortion. So you can't call a fetus personhood, obviously. And then when you use medical mandates, my body, my choice is all the same across the board. So it's interesting to me that the same people who pushed medical mandates want total body autonomy when it comes to abortion. So, and I mean, for what it's worth, I feel like I would not want to make anyone's choice for them regarding these matters. I'm pro-choice across the board.
This was all a lie. Yeah. I was really just kind of hoping we could put all this behind us and move on.
It's like the video from hell. It just won't stop. So, and the artist says, we lost 2 years for what? The artist said, I don't get why we are looking at the COVID response as a large conspiracy that was done maliciously. It wasn't. People were scared and uninformed. Everyone was involved. See, that's bullshit, actually. And with all due respect, it was not done without malicious intent. Here's the thing. There were so many of us that were talking, and there were doctors and virologists that were speaking out, and they were silenced and deplatformed. There were people speaking and saying that we knew. And for that, we were silenced, we were banned, we were given 30-day shut the fuck ups. We were taken off of social media. We were shut down. So it was out there.
Thousands of dollars.
We lost our businesses. People tried to come forward with all of this information, and it did not fit the narrative the government wanted it to have. So,
and not even worrying about coming forward as a content creator, just trying to hold on to your own integrity as an American to be able to do as thou wilt in the land of the free.
It was absolutely malicious, 100% malicious. When have you ever been censored before 2 years ago? Conspiracy theorists have been talking shit on social media since social media existed. Remember all the 9/11 stuff, the moon landings, a flat earth. They have been talking shit about shit since social media first existed. There have never been fact checkers until 2 years ago. There's never been censorship. So there's a lawsuit now because the government, our government, gave money to social media companies to censor. That violates the Constitution. they're being sued. So yeah, it was 100% malicious.
The government gave, so
don't let anybody say, "Oh, we're just scared. We didn't know anything." Yeah, they fucking knew. They knew. Yeah. They silenced people. So
you made a good point earlier, and it's just like for, I know we have a lot of different viewers from different era, Gen X, Gen Z, Gen Y, Generation Useless, whatever. That you were like, oh, the Patriot Act, and it's like, let's not let that go by, especially on election day, where you try and still pretend, oh, is there conservative, is there liberal? Because under the guise of George Bush Jr., son of a CIA top guy who was also put in as president and vice president to be the handler of actor from Hollywood through the 80s. Let's see, these 3-letter agencies that really do run this country that JFK wanted to splinter into a million pieces. But here nor there, that you'll never get an apology from them. But that Patriot Act, 1,000 pages, was ready to go on 9/11, and that took so much of your civil liberties, privacies, and rewrote everything. Okay, so finally we get rid of conservatives and Republicans, and we're woke and we're multicultural, and it's the 90s generation. We bring in Obama. Obama signs in the National Defense Authorization Act. And then while that took away, that was just for the end of the war. And I'll never.
DeSantis just won again. I'm sorry.
Won? Okay,
DeSantis
good.
won.
I know Florida's in. Good. There you go, guys.
Okay,
DeSantis
go
in.
Sorry, go.
Obama says he'll never sign it back in. When's he sign it in?
We had a chance to repeal it, and he signed it back in.
And like 3 weeks after saying he wouldn't. So it's on both watches of both extremes when it comes to the actual making of our own prison planet. And now here we are in this last pandemic of what was supposed to happen. And all those pieces for the last 20 years have been in place through operant conditioning and consolidation of media company and infiltration of CIA and FBI into every aspect of media and Netflix and Hollywood and all this shit by design. So, but you can't go and tell grandma that while you're trying to go to grandpa's birthday fucking party and have a good time, right? So the healing process of it doesn't need to start at the top. I don't think you'll ever see that. And what is it really going to do to have Mr. Anderson, Agent X, tell you, oh, we were sorry that we unleashed a bio attack on our own country? No,
I don't know. The woman who came in Canada, she was somebody at the top, and forgive me, I'm blanking on her name, but yeah, she apologized right away. She apologized and she said, you guys were treated badly. There's no excuse for it, and we're deeply sorry. It was very regrettable. And I watched the apology, and I was like, that is so nice. Like my blood pressure just went down. I was like,
well, that's Canadians right there.
Right? But I was just like, why don't they do that here? Because the nicest, the smallest kind gesture matters, more than just an intention. Like, do that shit. Apologize. Fucking apologize. You were wrong. You were wrong, and you hurt people, and people lost out because of it. I don't care if it was fear making the decisions or whatever it was, whether it was malicious or not. You were still wrong at the end of the day, and it cost people everything in some cases. Apologize. What does it cost? What does it cost to apologize?
They go Godfather Hyman Roth with it, and a man in my position cannot be made to look weak. And even if it's the maternal ones, like where's Kamala to be the mother of the country, or where is to use the Obamas as a marketing campaign to heal that, you know what I mean? To bridge that divide. But we're no closer. And especially today, you could just feel, I was just surrounded by senior citizens, the right-wing vitriol of it don't matter. Not one centrist is getting voted for. You would see 15 wicked old people and one 20-something. You're like, it's going to be lambs to slaughter, with with the generation 60 to 70-year-olds swinging the pendulum back to the woke generation that wants $15 an hour to get your hamburger order wrong.
Well, hang on a second. Hi, Sportsmaster. Thank you. Hello. Well, quite honestly, our minimum wage is kind of pathetic as is. I mean, how do people live on that shit? You know what I mean?
Well, everything's out of control with rents and all that shit. There's where's my guy from the rent is too damn high party?
I know.
Where's my dude there? Right.
Well, the rent's higher because of taxes and insurance is high too. I mean, it's you know what I mean? But I mean, it's not one party or the other. It really isn't. Everybody throws into this.
It's either the party of grab you by the crotch or the other party of grab you by the shoulders and sniff your hair creepy from behind. You got to choose one of the two.
No, you don't. That's what I'm saying. We need other parties. We need other options.
Can you get both? Can you get a front crotch grab and a hair? Can a girl get a front crotch grab and a hair sniff, shoulder rub all at the same time?
We were never meant to be two parties. Our forefathers are rolling in their graves.
Yeah.
So, and it was never meant to be a fascist democracy where corporations run everything and only 5 corporations run all the media so they can fear and steer us in any direction they want, sponsored by Pfizer. So it was never meant to be that way. Our original setup was common people. These were common people that came together to pass laws and to enforce laws. And then they went back to their common lives of being a farmer, being a lawyer, being a doctor. They didn't stay in office all year long because they're already millionaires and they're making laws, millionaires making laws for common people who they don't use our healthcare system. They don't have their kids in public school. They're making the laws for stuff they've never even experienced.
They're talking, the president's up there talking about gas prices and grocery prices, trying to act like he's out there pushing the cart through the aisles and shit. These are people that get Whole Foods delivered. You know what I mean? And they don't think anything of dropping $600. So no, and it doesn't matter.
Jamie goes, we have 2 choices for president, but 51 for Miss America. Exactly. So,
did you see Miss Puerto Rico and Miss I think Colombia came out of the closet together and possibly the hottest lesbian couple announcement of all time?
No, I missed that. Really?
Yeah, it was this past week. You're a smoke show too, but it's like, hey, every guy's fantasy come true. Guess who hooked up this week?
If you have 51 contestants from Miss America, there's a solid chance that at least 4 of them are going to be gay.
Yeah, for sure.
Just the odds.
But for them to hook up with each other in the ultimate Miss America girl-on-girl apartment wrestling video is going to be, that's what it's about.
They'll be the ratings will be good that night.
That's right.
As Karina says, get empowered. Corporatocracy. We're in desperate need for citizen statesmen and women. So that's what we have. We have a corporatocracy. So didn't they? Eva says, didn't they get married? Did they get married?
I think they may have. I just saw 2 really hot chicks kissing. Scissor me, daddy.
Well, hey, whatever floats your boat, man.
Oh yeah, god damn, now that's an OnlyFans.
Yeah. Winona says that should have been the first red flag against Biden. The way he's unaccountably close to women and children. If you watch closely, kids can't wait to get away from him after that.
How about all the super cuts? There's a super. They took down a lot of them from Obama years all the way till him, running for office, of the weird closeness. And then even recently, he was up on some teenage girl and said, "Now don't get with any boy till you're 35. Like don't get married till you're 35," which means like go out and bang all the Senate. Come on over. Have your mom send you over. Like. Just weird shit. They did get married. Mazel tov to Miss Puerto Rico and all.
Hey, cheers. So, yeah. I guess if we women had the option of marrying Miss America, pageant contestants, going that way might be more of a thing.
Oh, dude, could you imagine going to work the pageant circuit right now as a worker? Just like, oh my God, get me the fuck out of here.
I don't know. I think I think we women are a little bit crazy, and I don't know if I could put up with a partner that's just as batshit as I am.
Right.
Like,
especially with some Latino heat Puerto Rican flow going on. It'll be definitely a rough day over there. We'll need all the bits.
I've already had to deal with crazy men, and like, no. Anyway,
just switch it up.
Anyway, I was reading in Psychology Today about dyslexia, and I thought this was interesting. My brother is extraordinarily smart. Like, he might be smarter than I am. He's very quick and witty and smart. But he didn't graduate until he was almost 20 from high school. He was 19. Whereas I graduated, I was a senior, 16. Sorry, this sucks. Nothing fucks like crazy. I always say that. Hey. Anyway, that's my saying. Anyway, that's true. That's why they like crazy people. So he was held back because of dyslexia, having severe dyslexia. And a lot of people who have dealt with dyslexia have been left feeling stupid, basically. Stupid, slow, like they can't keep up. They're ostracized. They're left off to the side because we put so much emphasis on reading, writing, and having our numbers in, this order that if you can't keep up, they will hold you behind, or they did anyway. So I thought this was interesting that this is a condition that interferes, in case you don't know, everybody knows, but it's a condition that interferes with the ability to read and write fluently, and it's been classified as a disorder. So early pioneers of dyslexia research would call it a word blindness. So it is a unique cognitive style that actually the disorder actually ends up being a unique cognitive style that confers real benefits alongside of its drawbacks. So a new theory now says that and argues that dyslexia is an evolved cognitive specialization that has played an essential role in the survival of humanity and could help us thrive now if given the opportunity. So I thought that was super interesting. So what they're saying is dyslexia is universal in populations. It seems to have a strong genetic component, suggesting that the genes underlying dyslexia are ancient. Secondly, it remains widespread, with estimates of the prevalence ranging between 5 and 20%. So there are a number of cognitive strengths associated with dyslexia. So first is big picture perspective. So people who are dyslexic they're quicker to notice a work of art and all the details. They tend to be very creative. People with dyslexia excel at divergent thinking, the ability to come up with multiple solutions to any given problem. This might explain why roughly 1/3 of American entrepreneurs are thought to have dyslexia. And they also have an aptitude for art and engineering. So people with dyslexia are significantly overrepresented in fields like art, architecture, and engineering. So a lot of the entrepreneurs feel that they are successful because of dyslexia. So when taking all of this together and all the studies that they've done, they feel that there's this theory of evolution called complementary cognition. The core idea is that the brains of human beings developed an array of cognitive skills that complement one another as to enhance group survival or tribal survival. So if you think about ants or termites in a colony, they all behave differently. Some are fighters, some are breeders, some are workers, but their differences allow that colony to thrive. So human minds work similarly. Throughout history, humans faced innumerable challenges that require creative solutions. To that end, calling on an array of cognitive strategies could help. There's just different types of intelligent, different types of smart. Some people are clever. Some people are word smart. Some people are, street smart. Just because someone appears to not be smart in the same way you are, or classic book smart, doesn't mean that they're not sharp in a different way.
Well, I think that's all awesome, to show that it's not necessarily about, I'm afflicted with this. It's like, all right, well, if I know I am this way, then here are my strengths that I can rely on. And having dyslexia, or whether it's genetic or being handed down, is being handed, I don't want to say a rewiring of how most of society would do things, or some type of inability where it's beyond your control neurologically, if you're going to see an R backwards, or you're going to swap a U for an N, or whatever it is, right? But you still have the drive to be successful, so you're going to find another way to get around that obstacle, and your brain will reharness that power to channel it a different way, to come up with different solutions that the normal society isn't going to think of. And that's usually what will make someone a success, to be out there and taking chances to make a business something different that stands out along those lines, or make a piece of art that way. So I love that approach of not, he's dyslexic and that's the excuse. He has dyslexia, that's why he's brilliant in this field, probably more because of that trait, and you just would view somebody differently that way. But
and I mean, classic school would try to, thank you very much. Classic school would try to rewire you for a neurotypical brain pattern, but they're saying that at the most basic level, there are two fundamental specializations: exploration and exploitation. So we need to freely explore new environments in order to find resources like water. Once it's found, you have to develop or exploit these resources in order to survive and be efficient. So some people are, this is how different brains work. So successful artists, engineers, and entrepreneurs excel because of dyslexia. So the Western educational system, they tend to prize reading and writing highly, and often show very little patience for cognitive exploration. And the combination almost always tends to sap the confidence of dyslexic kids. But it shouldn't. We should learn to work with, not around and not in spite of and not rewire, but work with people's cognitive gifts. Because what somebody isn't necessarily, if they're not doing it a certain way, almost like a chart, my brother ended up going to like a charter school where he could be worked with at his own pace. And
well, there should be two versions, maybe multiple versions. I hate to be like, everybody needs a participation trophy, but if you've got to teach the same lesson and there's some kids that have this and they're being bullied, why isn't there an alternative textbook for the maybe more visual, or whatever way that fundamentally helps them learn that way, or endorses that way of learning into that? Once you've identified that a kid might have that, it seems like for educational opportunities and a whole revenue stream of being able to pioneer that type of alternative learning for and again foster the good at a young age, as opposed to like, you're different, you can't do it like everybody else, and sort of go, I'm different, I do it different than everybody else.
AB Twitch was AB Twitch was saying that wasn't the same said about autism regarding dyslexia. Yeah, it was. I think Temple Grandin was doing a lot of appearances and speaking out about why she was successful with autism, because she was encouraged to grow in her own way. And there's something always usually very extraordinary about someone that has autism. You just have to find the gift. Right. So for my mom, it was her memory. So she was on the spectrum, and she had a memory, like, it was insane. Like, she would never forget anything. We would drive me somewhere as a kid, and we could go back 15 years later. She could remember how to get to that person's house. Like me, I can't remember how to get to the gym half the time. I'm using my GPS. Like that
Mm.
was definitely not genetic. It did not get passed down, but her memory was just insane. And it was fun to, because my mom would come off quite honestly as not an intelligent person. You know, she came off kind of slow sometimes. But man, you put her in front of Jeopardy and her brain had stored all that. So wherever she was, somewhere, and the older she got, you know, the more she stored. She would those answers. She was like, boom, what is, you know, and she would, those answers would come up. And
meticulous database inside of her mind that way.
She was a computer. And Winona says, I believe that can be said about all disabilities. Over the years, we've had to hone our special abstract intelligence. I would agree. So I would agree. There's a difference between, I see this a lot. Like, what's the thing that a lot of the left are doing where they preach about tolerance and inclusiveness. There's a difference between tolerance and inclusiveness versus actually trying to understand people's gifts and what they have to offer, and then bringing that, encouraging them to actually get there and be the best version of themselves. Does that make sense?
It's the way our society has shifted. I think Generation X that we are, it shifted from the bullying of the brat packers of the 80s to now the helicopter parents, but it's kind of swung back a little bit from where it was. But Get Empowered, really enjoying this conversation as a professional in this industry. So it'll be a hybrid of home education for parents who work full-time and need a support system to full-time opportunity for students being failed by the system.
Here's where they need to actually pick up and go back to old school. We need to go back tribal again. We need to understand that our neighbors are not the enemy and we should get along with them. And you get together with all the people and you can do that tribal version of homeschooling where one person takes the kids this particular day and does this lesson. One person takes the kids, like takes a village to raise a child situation.
Can we do it in front of the screen? Can we do it in a homeschooling modular? Because I worked at a college. Your mom goes to college. I worked at a college where, I was in charge of the entire system for online learning, even showing the professors how to create online courses. And since we've, done what we needed to school and go, hey, the kids survived, but we haven't really developed a true home learning system where you can kind of pick and choose what you want and a little of everything and what's really going to entice your kids. I see that as the future as opposed to the get on the bus, go to the school. It's a social experiment and like the homeschooling system or hybrid system, I think is going to be the way of the future, just economically. And, with people working at home a lot more, as many people work at home now, they're not going to want to spend those education costs when they would rather, hey, I can put you in front of the classroom for 4 hours and check in on you every 45 minutes myself.
My friend does that with her kids. Yeah. And she says they have basically, instead of 8 hours of school, they have 4 hours of school. The girls sleep in. They do the classes later in the day. And she does that hybrid thing. They're doing great. And yeah, I mean, kids they're not meant to have so much homework or have so much schooling. Kids need some playtime and they need some social time. They're not meant to be.
I agree with Freed saying that right now, but can we do instead of making the excuse of they need to be in the classroom, they need the social time every day. Can we go really look at the metrics? Are they flourishing better in home and hybrid? And is their education level farther ahead because they're not being distracted by social situations? And yes, we agree that we do need socialization. So what social programs do we make where kids, there's little leagues and things like that, where we interact with them more that way? We don't say no or the other.
Get them into their classes. So, and some, you guys, a couple different people asked couple different people asked me about Asperger's syndrome. That's what my mom had. What's my opinion on it? Well, my opinion is it's a high functioning autism, and it needs its own. You have. Well, okay. I don't know what you're asking exactly. It's on the spectrum. It's high functioning. There's a lot of anxiety with it.
Yeah. I was going to say there needs to be a lot
more sleep is needed. Yeah.
Okay.
So there are certain things that are needed. Huh?
I'm sorry. I might be a little behind you, lagging. I was going to say, how is it in a capacity of dealing with someone, and what type of tolerances do you have to accept, or changes in how you have to present things to relate and be on the same level with someone who may not be able to express themselves the same way?
You have to be patient. I'm sure one person with Asperger's is not the same as somebody else with Asperger's, but in my experience with it, what I've dealt with, confrontation was not really appreciated or liked. Change in routine wasn't either. So there are certain routines, and you have to respect those routines. You have to make
even that can offset the balance of what they have to do every day in order to function, right?
Yeah. And, you have to understand that things are being seen by a different lens sometimes. So you have to maybe slow down and explain yourself so that there's no chance of being off the same page, or risking, like I said, confrontation, or dealing with extra stress and anxiety. In my experience, a lot of people who have high functioning autism or Asperger's, they do deal with a lot of anxiety. So trying to understand that is kind of important. So I don't know if that's helpful at all, but working with it instead of making somebody feel bad about it. It's just the way it is, So it is what it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I think that's Generation X and the 90s generation of, I have somebody like this in my family, and instead of shoving them away like we did in the 50s and 60s and 70s, kind of into group homes or what have you, because it's an embarrassment to the family. Instead, it's like, all right, let's all work together to create understanding and accept for what it is, And I think even shows like The Sopranos help to dispel some of that, with Tony, a mob boss, a leading man, and the character passes out, and they even say, oh, your grandfather back in Calabria pushed a mule cart off the side of the road because he passed out, because he had these things that are handed down in your DNA. There's nothing that happened, your mom wasn't sniffing airplane glue or something, and that's why you got fucking how you are.
Yeah, my grandma was young with my mother. She was 19. And when my mom was born, the state came to take her and put her in a home because they said she was retarded. So not that anybody uses that word anymore. But my grandmother wouldn't let her go because my grandfather had died while she was pregnant overseas. His B-24 Liberator was shot down, and he was missing in action for 4 months. And she found out right before my mom was born that he had died. So my mom was all she had, So here she was in the 1940s with a baby, a teenager, and no way to support herself. And then my mom is special needs on top of that. So I remind myself of that. This is the depression too. I remind myself of that every time I think I have it bad. And I look at my grandma's ration coupons where there's no butter, there's no cream. And, I remind myself that, no, we're good. We have We got some food on the table. We're all good. Everything's good. Compared to what my grandma went through, everything's fine.
Oh, we're spoiled as fuck. We think we're so bad. And not War Demon needs a laugh. This is all too serious. I'm gonna try one more time here.
Hey,
I downloaded
cool, awesome dude. Cool, awesome dude. The word retarded actually means slow in French. And when I was in France, in Paris, my flight was delayed. And on the board, it said retarded. And I was like, huh. So I didn't know. I didn't know that it meant delayed or, behind, slow. And I was like, I guess that's the only place where they still use that word.
I guess so. But it has have like retarded abilities, or even in music, it has properties as well. But I downloaded it in the background off of Instagram, so we'll see if it works here in VLC.
It turns out that this was all a lie. Yep. I was really just kind of hoping we could put all this behind us and move on. Is that an apology? Because it doesn't really sound like one. I know that I called you a grandma killer, but I really just wanted what was best for you. I actually couldn't visit my grandma in the hospital or even attend her funeral, but my heart was in the right place. I also lost my business and my job. I had good intentions, and my kids' social, mental, and physical development was also hurt. Listen, we just didn't know. I knew, lots of people knew, but you refused to listen. Instead, you called us names and wished death upon us. Let's just call a truce, okay? But according to your hat, you care about social justice. What does that have to do with anything? Why don't you care about justice here? I don't hear you demanding apologies or reparations, because that would have to come from me, and we just need to move on. So you don't believe in accountability for systemic injustices when you're the one guilty. Can't we just build back and move forward? And I want to build back a system that allowed this to occur. Don't you want peace?
Boom.
I found this sign on the ground. Maybe you recognize it.
Super good.
She summed it up. Yeah. So
and nobody out hacks the hacker. I hack back attack on that.
You did. Well done, Ben. Well done, you.
Thank you.
And yes, Karina, you're right. Nobody does call it Asperger anymore. So thank you. Yeah.
They call it Whataburger.
They just call it on the spectrum or high functioning autism. So they changed.
Everything gets rebranded. That's marketing campaigns most of the time, The spectrum sounds fun.
Yeah. So I liked manic, what do you call it? Manic depression, but they changed manic depression to bipolar disorder. So.
Yeah, I liked manic depression because the manic part is like fucking rocking the rock and roll crazy shit.
Then they've got to change all these things partway through, and then we got to learn new shit. So
always, well, that's part of the control method, to it all, really. So they can sell more books. So they can go, oh, well, that's when we were talking about manic depression. Now we're talking about bipolar. So, that's different. No, it's the same shit.
Same
different
thing.
day. Yeah. We got new books to sell. So we got to change the title on all that shit. But that's just marketing 101, man. But great conversation here tonight on how to, really look at every human being. And we can all kind of be classified even in subcategories. More bits coming in from Eventown Skip.
Yeah.
We give them Titty Tuesday biddies for titties. You guys appreciate that with all those corgi bits coming in earlier as well. But I love the mind of April Hunter. People are saying I love it in the chat room, and we always do here on the A Show, because she pulls out Psychology Monthly magazine. She's writing her newsletter Meltzer style, taking it back to the original.
Yes.
She's doing the OnlyFans, you guys. She's doing Patreon, and also here live on YouTube and Twitch, interacting. Every place we can. Titties out here. And we're saying fuck anybody who doesn't like to say fuck. Like, get fucked, like, at the end of the day. I was gonna say this when we were up at the top, because exactly.
Fuck
all
you,
my
paisans. Fuck you, and fuck you over there.
I saw one reason MVP couldn't go to do the show in Saudi Arabia is because he was Muslim, And I thought it maybe because he was a felon, he couldn't leave the country or what have you. He already had a felony back in the day, years and years and years ago. But because he was Muslim and is now atheist, that's considered blasphemy, and that could have been one of those
Really?
serious. Yeah, yeah. So
Ah,
that's another thing too of like,
I didn't know that.
here's these crazy rules, you know what I mean? Of if you break your pledge to us, or if something, if you're a worker, believing in religion is hard enough for me to go, how does any worker believe in religion based upon what we do of dressing up in robes and coming out to entrance music and working the crowd for money? It's pretty much the same goddamn thing, giving them a show experience. So I think the worker in them might have taken over, and I can understand why anybody who went to prison would glom onto religion as, you know, your safety net of what you need to get through it. So I don't judge them that way by any means, but to not be able to go for the Saudi payday because of atheism, and meanwhile they're over there shaking hands with Paul Heyman in the photo press op, I'm just like laughing my ass off. You know what I mean? It's a ridiculous.
That's my biggest issue with everything, is the hypocritism. It's just so many. I mean, Americans especially are such hypocrites. I mean, we really are. It's like we're going into the hypocrite Olympics trying to get the gold. It's like we are the biggest hypocrites of all the nations, and it just drives me nuts. So the principle of it. So I hate it. There's something somebody brought up, and I was gonna say, come back. What am I looking at? Oh my God, that's hilarious. You were not even kidding me. Huh. Well, huh. Okay. So, well, thanks, Karina. I get your paper in. I know the 11:59 deadline from school. I totally get it. Oh, I feel you on that. I actually miss the deadlines. I really do. Maybe need to audit one of my classes. I do miss the deadlines. Yeah, I do. But I wanted to remind you guys again, newsletter is back. Go to aprilhunter.net to sign up, and I will start sending those as soon as we get enough people on there to send them out. And while you're over there, drop me an email if you want a Christmas card and I don't already have your email. So put in the subject line, card or holiday, something where I won't lose it in my horrible system of disorganization and pure sheep shagging shite that is my inbox. So, holiday card. How about that? That's our subject line. And I will send you a Christmas card or holiday card, Hanukkah card, Kwanzaa card.
And myself and Big Ray will check the A Show mailbag at gmail.com if you want them there. The A Show mailbag at gmail.com, you guys, if you want to send those requests there, we'll be happy to forward them along to you, or at Hameen Media Group if you want. But you guys know where to get a hold of April. She's easily accessible when it comes to online stuff. So absolutely, who wouldn't want a holiday card from April Hunter?
And yes, Jamie, definitely. So yeah, they actually canceled school here in Florida on Thursday because another hurricane's coming through. So shocker. So we're in November. Let me just tell you, we clicked over to November and this shit's supposed to be done. So we had November 1st, 88 degrees, almost 90 degrees. It has been hot and we still have hurricanes, and storm season ended in October. This is bullshit. Y'all need to stop moving here. Stop moving to Florida. I know it's free and I know it's open and I know our governor is pretty cool, but stop. Okay, go somewhere else. Go to, I don't know, Utah or something, because our property there isn't anything left anymore. Like they're building on train tracks, okay? Like the Chinese, the CCP just bought 1,400 acres of property in Florida to test primates and quarantine them. What could go wrong?
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong now with Planet of the Apes?
In Florida. Yeah.
Damn dirty apes.
They bought farmland, 1,400 acres to test stuff to put a lab on there, so they could test on primates and quarantine them in Florida. So, yeah, that doesn't. And when somebody posted about it, it was taken down. As soon as I saw, so you get the notifications in your email. It's like somebody posted like, can somebody tell me why this is happening? And then it was gone. It says post has been removed. I was like, what the fuck is this? I start digging around. Oh yeah, they did that. It's happening. So
you guys heard it here first. Coming 2028, the Florida Chinese escaped silverback gorilla pox coming
28 days later. Yeah.
28 days later.
Florida's full. We're over full. And we now have the CCP buying property here. We were going to have infected primates. We found we now have crocodiles here too. Crocodiles. Those are the ones that eat people and shit. So we now have crocodiles. Not just alligators.
Those
crocodiles.
Not like those cuddly alligators. Those cuddly alligators that'll just come up and put their heads on your lap and
so and it's 90 degrees still in November. And we have hurricanes.
Yeah. Can I get a hood pass for this weekend to go to Disney World? Am I going to be allowed in Florida, April, or no? Can I get a hood pass or no?
A hood pass?
Yeah. From you. You said Florida's closed. I was just trying to come down for the weekend. I don't know.
Just for the weekend. Yeah, but you need to get the fuck out by Monday.
Okay, I am. We're back on. We're out on Monday. That's all I need was the hood pass to make it.
You go now.
Yeah, I almost did a bad Asian impersonation in Florida, but I decided against it. And there was plenty of that on Raw this week. So you guys, I'm not gonna outdo any of that shit. Well, I had one other thing. I wanted to say thanks to you because it was quiet this year, but I saw you posted it, and always I did as well. And I did a little of it on the Halloween show, but an important week for truthers everywhere. Remember the 5th of November, Guy Fawkes Day, and hopefully watch V for Vendetta. If not, some of your favorite scenes, the verbal vicissitude,
gunpowder and treason, motherfuckers.
So I know April loves it, and so do I. So I love seeing that on November 5th, and we never let it go by. So to all of the patriots out there, the truth seekers out there on election day, we hope that you went out there and whether you believe it counts or not, at least try to exercise your right to have an opinion still in whatever's left of this falling republic. But it's town square events like this, like the A Show, with our community, digital or not, from where all over the world, chiming in to not say who's right or who's wrong, but to listen to each other and give each other's personal stories and react and sometimes say, no, that's bullshit. That's a narrative. And other times say, wow, I didn't look at it that way. And you have a great point because I haven't experienced what you have. So appreciate the chat room tonight. The best fans here at the A Show, always giving great insights, and we have health professionals, and look forward again to our guest next time coming on with us. You want to give a quick preview again of that, Abe?
Yeah, we're having Eli Che Gonzalez. He is an author, and he's written a book about a Holocaust survivor that is now being turned into a film. He's also my former boss, so he'll probably talk about how I'm not working for him anymore. So there's a story there. It should be quite interesting. And he's a speaker and inspirer, so he's a cool dude. So he'll be on next week. By the way, hello, Alexa. Nice to see you there. What's up? And I saw, hang on a second, The Artist. You said today is the 50th anniversary for HBO. Oh my gosh. I wanted to tell you guys, you just reminded me, there's a show on HBO Max. I think it's called Homesteading or Homegrown. It's a reality show where a woman goes around and shows people how to turn their yards, their regular everyday yards, into some kind of permaculture thing where they're growing all their food. And you learn a lot from it. So if you're like hit or miss like I am, apparently you learn a lot. So if you guys are interested in that, that might be something to grab a couple episodes on. And I'm saying it wrong. It's not homegrown or homesteading. It's something like that. So check it out on HBO Max on his 50th birthday.
And not only can you grow your own foods at home, you can grow the best quality cannabis from Horseshoe
and
Genetics.
Mushrooms. So thanks you guys for showing up tonight. I appreciate it. It was very nice to see you, and I guess we will see you next Tuesday. Have a good one, and stop over apronhunter.net, sign up for the newsletter.
Yeah, sign up for the newsletter, sign up for the holiday cards, you guys, and definitely check out the A Show. Give a subscription on YouTube. Use that Amazon Prime on twitch.tv/the A Show. It's the Illuminati hottie coming through for you guys, even though she's feeling a little under the weather, still giving great inspiration, great diet tips, and getting ready for the holidays. We'll see you guys next time here on the A Show.